Most manufacturers hire a BDR thinking they're going to open new accounts in 90 to 120 days. 90 days later, they have no deals, no pipeline, and just have payroll. The problem isn't effort, it's leverage, and it's their strategy. So in this video, I'm going to be going through why you need to be hiring a marketer instead of another BDR in 2026 if you are a manufacturer. Let's get into it. Real quick, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Ogren, the founder of MoneyMake Marketing, and we specialize in B2B outreach for manufacturers specifically. One of our clients just closed a multiple six-figure deal and expects 7 figures plus from this particular account in 2026 using our strategy. So I'm just gonna walk you through the adjustments that they had to make from wanting to go hire a new BDR to hiring a marketer, us, and the things that we've noticed and the benefits that they've received because of doing that. So I just figured I'd make a video on it. So let's just define a BDR and then a marketer, and then let's go through why it makes sense to hire a marketer instead of another BDR in 2026. So a BDR, business development rep, essentially what they are, they're a salesperson that is going manually, or maybe they have some automation tools, but they're going through and they're trying to open up new accounts for these manufacturers. They're going to major brands, they're going to major companies, and they're trying to set meetings with their decision makers, okay? That's essentially what they're doing. A marketer is doing the same thing, but just in a different format with a different strategy, okay? So essentially what the manufacturer is trying to solve is opening up new accounts for their company, okay? So the difference and why you need to hire a marketer instead of a BDR comes down to two things, okay? And the two things are leverage and strategy, all right? So a BDR, business development rep, then a marketer. I'll just do two different things here, okay? So if we just look at the very first thing, okay, let's just look at leverage. A BDR, typically they do not have automation prowess, okay? So they lack automation skills. So this means they are going to have to do manual outreach for the most part. And if you look at how like the older strategies, and I'll get to the strategy here in a second, of how these BDRs would do their outreach, they would cold call the front desk. They would just call the company, they'd submit online forms into their websites, they would try and find an email address and email them specifically. And if they just couldn't find any emails from scouring the internet or using some free tools that they've been able to find, or using some database that they finally had the actual owner of the company invest in, then they would not even email them. So it was pretty much just that, cold calling and emailing without any sales assets or any other lead magnet or anything like that. And typically their outreach strategies just were terrible, but they just did not have the leverage and the volume to actually have success. So they just lacked automation skills. So they're having to manually touch prospect. So when that is the case, the bottleneck is your BDR. If you can only talk to 100 new accounts every single month and they have a terrible strategy, you might not even open up any of them. So that's pretty much the first thing. So the lack of automation skills. Another one is their lack of AI skills. This is just off of our own experience. Using AI, we use AI every single day. And there's not a day that goes by that we don't use AI. My dad, he's an attorney, and he just logs into my AI accounts to actually use my AI the way we use it for his own business, for his legal contracts and all this, that, and the other. Obviously, he's reviewing it in a lawyer fashion. But my point is, no one uses AI more than marketers. We're having to create all these assets, do deep research, messaging, X, Y, and Z. AI is the perfect tool for marketing. Now, these business development reps, they are not using AI as much. Maybe they're using a little bit of ChatGPT to help them write their copy, but usually they're not having to do it or have as in-depth knowledge of AI or automations and AI and automations as marketers do. They typically are just focusing on the sales opportunities because that's how they get paid. They just don't have a true base of AI skills. If we go into just a little bit more of a financial side of things, they are on salary for the most part. Salary plus commission usually. Salary plus commish. So typically, I think on Glassdoor, it's $70K per year is like the lower rate for a manufacturer BDR to actually be compensated. So if you hire a BDR, $70K a year, if you hire them for 90 days, what's that math? That's $70K. Let me just do the math for you real quick. 70,000 divided by 12 times 3. So that's $17,500 that you are out cold. $17,500 if they don't generate anything for you in 90 days, 3 months. So that's typically just off the salary. That doesn't even take into account the commission. And then so the other piece is if they were actually good, they would be worth more, right? So if they are actually good at what they're able to do, they would want more money. than 70K a year. And so that's when you pay them, you get what you get. Anyways, so lack of automation skills, lack of AI, and then lack of marketing strategy knowledge. Now, so this differs among each particular company that we've seen. Some companies have a specific strategy that they want to use. One of our clients, they have a specific strategy that they already use that they knew for another client. Like, we came in and we built the strategy for them. If a BDR is coming to a strategy that they already know works, that's one thing. They're literally just someone that can do extra volume. If you are hiring that BDR to generate more opportunities and you do not have a predictable system to do it, that BDR is not going to figure out that strategy. So usually they have a lack of marketing strategies, and it's not anything against them. They are just a business development rep. They are not they don't understand how to build funnels. They don't understand what marketing really is. Maybe they say they do, but they really don't understand like how to actually take a cold prospect that doesn't want to talk to you, that doesn't know who you are, doesn't trust you, value you, whatever it is, and turn them into someone that's giving you money. And a business development rep, they're not trained to do that. All they're trained to do is talk to people and get them to agree to a meeting. That's pretty much it. A marketer has to stay into the entire funnel. So we just have not seen BDRs have true marketing knowledge. So if you're relying on, if you need a new strategy that is working, that works at scale, then hiring a BDR for 70K a year is not going to be the case. If they had that strategy, they would probably just go do it themselves, right? Or they would cost a little bit more money than that. And so if they're costing more money and then it doesn't work, it's costing you more money, right? Lack of marketing strategy. So when you combine the actual automation skills, lack of AI skills, the salary plus the actual commission, the lack of marketing strategy knowledge versus a marketer who has automation skills, meaning automation skills, when a new lead comes in, that you get a notification, that the messages are sent out or automated at scale, but they still are personalized. And they have all these different workflows that personalize all the messages. So it doesn't look cheesy, but it's also consistent with your brand, and it gets approved by you each time. That has skills to you input each lead into the CRM, into the correct format, that has all these different tools that enable them to actually track effectively. All these automation skills to make your life and your business a lot easier, plus your marketing and your skills be able to get a little bit more leverage. Those automation skills are super valuable and will become even more valuable in 2026. So I'm talking about N8N. That's a really good tool that we like to use. Zapier is another one. We use those. Task Magic is another one. And you combine these with your AI agents, it truly changes the game. But having a marketer with automation skills is a true asset because it's two businesses wrapped in one. Having a really good automations guy is going to be important moving on into this AI age. So BDRs just do not have that because they're not required to. They don't really need to do their job, but to actually get scale and make the most amount of money possible, which would you rather have? A BDR that does not have any automation skills, or a marketer that is forced to automate their entire business every single day to just maintain a bunch of clients? Which is more important? So I would go with the automation guy, no problem. They can also get a little bit more leverage. So they can do more outreach with this. More volume, right? Because the same person, now they're automating messages, they can do as much outreach as possible versus the actual manually touching each prospect, right? And we have a personalization. We love using personalization, but we use it in a different way. We actually use it in our lead magnets, and I'll explain that here in a second. So then lack of AI skill. Marketers have to use AI, right? So there's not a day that goes by that we don't use AI. We use AI to create sales assets. We use AI to do deep research. We use AI to do everything. We're having to use AI to actually give us prompts to use in other AIs. We're constantly using ChatGPT, Task Magic, Claude, Grok. Like, we use all the models. We have all the top AI tools. We're constantly investing in understanding each new piece of each tool because we're the ones that use them the most. And so I don't think there's another job out there actually that uses more AI than a marketer does. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. So having a marketer has automation skills and AI skills, and also skills to tie those two together, when a BDR just does not have that. They're not required to. They just been their jobs over time for the past 20 plus 30 years. They didn't need to. They would just need a cell phone, an Excel spreadsheet, and that was it. And you can just leave them alone. Now it's required that they get a little bit more leverage. And AI skills and how to use them for marketing specifically. So can you research a prospect before you reach out to them? Can you actually automate the research for that prospect? Can you actually do research and figure out what kind of triggers is that company doing right now? Can you do it for what kind of product launches are they going to have in 2026? Can you do this, that, and the other? And AI research is going to be like the thing that changes the game for you. It's been changing the game for a lot of our clients from the get-go. And a BDR sitting there and manually researching each prospect, that's just a waste of your time. And you're paying them to waste your time then. So we love using AI to actually research each prospect for us, and it can do it simultaneously. So I can send it a list of 1,000 leads, and it researches all 1,000 at the same time. It would take a BDR probably 2 months to research each lead and reach out to them and get meetings booked. So you can just move much faster. So having AI skills, and then salary and commission. So you can get way more leverage, way more volume for way less money than that. Less money, more lucrative, plus more leverage. And it depends on your marketer, right? It does depend on your marketer. If you hire them in-house versus go with an agency or just X, Y, and Z, it really depends. We are expensive, but that's because in 2025, we collected $3.55 million in revenue for our clients. Not contracted revenue, collected, cash in their bank accounts. We're very good at what we do, and that's why I'm making this video, but usually you can get a marketer that's less than what you would pay a BDR because they would typically have a couple of their clients. But I'm not saying that we are, okay? It's a case by case if we even have room. So then lack of marketing knowledge. So obviously marketers have marketing knowledge. So where this hits is actual strategy. Let me pull this down a little bit more. Marketing knowledge, like obviously we're marketers, right? So we know how to take someone that's a complete stranger and turn them into someone that's giving you cash. And it really comes down to getting them to consume specific content that's geared to that. But how do you actually create that content? Do you think a BDR is going to be creating content, or do you think the marketer is going to be creating content? The BDR is most definitely not going to be able to create their own content. Marketer has that skill and that knowledge and understands how to create content. So this is very important because if you hire somebody that has the wrong strategy, you are not going to get the result, okay? And at the end of the game, we want you to make more money than what you pay us or / them. So if you hire a BDR and you're paying them $75K a year, then they need to make you more money than $75,000 per year, okay? And that's obviously gonna happen over time, eventually if they're good and they're worth a damn, but do the math. If you spend $17,500 in 3 months and do not generate any POs or any meetings that are booked with accounts that could be 200K, 400K plus in coming years once they're fully mature, then do you think the next 5 months you probably will? Then you're just throwing money down the drain. And I think a lot of manufacturers they just don't do the math ahead of time. Do the math. If you are now struggling, if they're struggling and they're not able to do the volume, you might want to hire a marketer because you can pay that same amount of money. Let's just say it's equal just for comparison's sake, and just do more volume with a better strategy. And you get content, sales assets, and just a new strategy in general that work in other industries and other principles that have been studied from marketers time and time again is what you get. And so you have an opportunity to get a different result with that, right? So that's very important. And when you get more volume to make more money than what you pay them, it totally becomes reasonable. One account, pretty much all you need is one account that's 200,000, 400,000 at fully mature account, and you get your ROI. You need one of those per year to justify the cost from this particular venture, right? If you get one of those per year, and obviously you keep them, you don't have churn. Like all of our manufacturers, once we introduce and we get a deal opened for them, they keep them for a long time. If you're the same way and you're watching this, you're gonna see exponential growth at that point in time. But now with a BDR, them doing manual outreach, I don't think you're gonna see that. And as the marketplace gets more and more saturated, you're gonna need someone that can iterate off of strategy. And I don't think the BDRs are constantly studying new strategies because they don't have to. All they have to do is just continue to collect the check from you because they're on salary, and that's it. Pretty much just think through the result and then think through leverage and strategy. That kind of looks weird. Just ignore it. But think through the result and think through leverage and strategy and ask yourself, can another BDR get me there, okay? And if they can, great. If they can't, maybe it's time to hire a marketer. I'm Ryan Ogren. This is MoneyMake Marketing. If you have any questions, click the link below. Apply to work with us. No promises, but we'll actually review your application. And if it makes sense for us to get on a call with you, we will book a meeting or request that you book a meeting with us. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment, subscribe. We have more content coming out. Hit the notifications bell, and you will see that video. Okay, Ryan Ogren, MoneyMake Marketing. See ya.